Hello everyone, and today I would like to show you a very nice and amazing romantic chess game from the romantic era of chess from 1871 June. So in this chess game with the white pieces we have Samuel Rosenthal. I'm going to talk a little bit about him, and his opponent was interestingly Count Isouard. This Count is the same Count who played against Paul Morphy in the Opera House game. And he lost with that famous opera mate. It was a consultation game because Count Isouard was also playing against Morphy with Duke Karl, as we know. So they were allies against Paul Morphy, but they lost with the most spectacular way possible. And that chess game is, of course, maybe the most famous chess game, one of the most famous chess games of all times. Anyway, so let's see what happened this time. His opponent was not as brilliant as Paul Morphy, but Samuel Rosenthal was also a pretty strong and amazing chess player himself. So let me give you a few quick informations about him. He was basically the chess champion of Café de la Régence, the famous cafe in Paris, the gathering place of the famous chess masters at the time. He became the champion of Café de la Régence. Sorry for my pronunciation, I don't speak French. Anyway, so he became the champion of this cafe from 1865-66 and finally in 1867, which doesn't sound like much, but back in the day, being the champion of this cafe was quite prestigious. And he won the first unofficial French chess championship in 1880. So he was a pretty strong chess player, and he also produced some amazingly beautiful romantic chess games, and this chess game is one of them. So let's see what happened. You can see that this is a knight-odds chess game. So e4, e5, f4, king's gambit type of position, but there is no knight, so technically this is not king's gambit. Anyway, so developing the pieces, g5, bishop to c4 and g4. So quickly attacking the knight, and white castled incredibly. So white is sacrificing the knight when he was playing without one of his knights. That was, of course, this is a knight-odds chess game. He surrendered his knight before the game, and the sacrifice is accepted, and this is the logical thing to do, of course. So this was a typical romantic chess game. So sacrificing one more piece for the rapid development. So you can see that white has managed to develop queen and bishop, and white also castled, and white is very active, and all of black pieces are at home and the king is in the center. But materially speaking, of course, black is far more better. So white lost both of his knights. So developing the queen, e5, sacrificing a pawn for opening the e file and for dislodging the queen, a good practical move. And this is accepted, but then bishop takes on f7 out of the blue, sacrificing the third minor piece for dragging the king out. Now, isn't this too much sacrifice? It is, actually, but only if black finds some of the most accurate moves for defending the wave of attacks of white. Then white is most definitely going to lose, because he lost 3 minor pieces. That's a lot of material. So it is accepted, the logical thing to do. d4, and Rosenthal is throwing everything at his opponent for the quick attack. What an exciting chess game to watch. Not the most logical, of course, but the most exciting easily. This is so much more aggressive than even Tal and Nejmetdinov. This is amazing. So, of course, queen takes on d4 is also possible in this position. Black decided to retreat, but then bishop to e3, and white is developing with tempo, and you can capture this bishop because this f pawn is pinned. So if queen takes bishop, then this is just an amateur blunder. The pawn is pinned. So queen back, black said that's too much material. Bishop takes on f4, and white opened the f file, and the king is in front of the queen and the rook. this looks very dangerous. And black made the first big mistake, not a blunder. But this was not a good move. Bishop to g7, question mark. Now clogging the important potential escape square for the king on g7. So d6, knight to e7, and bishop to e7 are the three more accurate moves. This would be a much better move, or knight to e7, or even d6. Those moves would be much better than bishop to g7, clogging the important potential escape square for the king on g7. So white checks the king, queen to g6, because if king to e7, that's basically game over, pinning and winning. Black is losing the queen. That would be a terrible blunder. But if king to f8, then rook to e1 is a very strong move. But if you move the bishop, let's say bishop takes on c7, this is pinning and winning the queen. But still black has so much material for the queen. So queen to g6, and then bishop to d6, exclamation point, that's check. And this is also covering on e7. Very exciting move. We have king to e8. And actually this was a very, very bad blunder by Count Isouard. So can you guess white's next move? And why? Did you see why king to e8 was a horrible blunder? Well, actually, king to e6 is also a blunder, even worse than king to e8, because this is getting checkmated by force. And if a knight to f6, this looks like a sensible move in this position, because this is developing the knight and blocking the rook. But then check, knight is pinned, and you can see that king to g7 would be great, but because of the bishop, king can't move there. So if king goes back, then we have check, and then check, and this is losing by force, check. Basically, black is getting checkmated by force. This is checkmate. So, which move was better instead of king to e8? Which move was the better move? Actually, not the better, but the best. Bishop to f6 was the only best move for black. So finally relieving the king's position so that the king can escape. But Mr. Count Isouard, who got checkmated famously against Paul Morphy in the Opera House, missed this only good defensive move. Because watch this, queen to d5, okay, king to g7, and then rook lift and rook. Okay, I mean, rook to g3 is pinning and winning the queen, but black still has a lot of material despite losing the queen now. And his king is safe on g7, white is losing, and you can see that both the bishop and the rook is hanging. So if, I think pawn takes bishop, rook takes, I mean, you can see that black has so much material for the queen. And not just that, but the king's position is completely fine, the king is safe on g7, so white is losing in this position. Okay, so after queen to h5, bishop to d6 check, we have a very bad blunder. King moves back to e8. Of course, bishop to f6 should have been considered, but this was a bad blunder because of queen to e5 check. What a move, what an exciting move by Samuel Rosenthal, and this was the most exciting move in this chess game so far at move 13. But we have queen to e6. Why not accepting the queen sacrifice? Well, because we have opera mate, and Count Isouard had enough of getting opera mated, because had he get opera mated, his name would be something like Count Mr. Opera Mate Isouard. I think that would be his nickname. He would get opera mate all the time in chess games. But especially after his disastrous defeat against Paul Morphy in the Opera House in 1858, he had enough of getting opera mated. So it would be very, very embarrassing for Count Isouard. So after queen to e5, bishop takes queen is going to deflect the bishop, defending on f8. So we have, what else? Queen to e6, not king to d8. Can you see the move? Bishop takes on c7, that's checkmate. So queen to e6, and then Rosenthal simply captures the bishop, and he's threatening checkmate on f8. So queen or rook f8, checkmate. Black is in deep trouble. So eliminating the bishop, but then rook check, and we have queen to e7 in this desperate position, because if blocking with the knight, queen takes rook is checkmate, and if king to d8, then rook up, and black is getting checkmated once again. So after this move, we have check and desperately blocking with the queen. Can you guess the next move of white? Would you capture the queen with the rook? Well, there's a better move, and that is queen to f8, that's checkmate, because this queen is pinned. I think this was the most elegant way to finish this chess game. Checkmate, and black queen is pinned in the final position. All of black pieces, as you can see, are sleeping on the 8th rank, besides the lonely queen trying to defend the king helplessly. And what a beautiful chess game. Well, actually, you can also, if you wish, you can also checkmate the king with the rook, and that's opera mate. So Count Mr. Opera Mate Isouard is getting opera mated yet once again. Okay, another fun and a fantastic chess game from the romantic era of chess. So Samuel Rosenthal has many more beautiful, interactive, romantic chess games in his colorful chess career. So maybe I will also show some other chess games by this chess player in the future. So thanks for watching. Take care and bye bye.